Welcome to Whispers, everybody, on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. It is 7:08 p.m., 36 degrees. Is that correct, Lo? Are we down?
Unfortunately, my dear, we are now down to 32 with probably 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and the snow blizzard thing just quit. I mean, it's still snowing, but it's
not as bad as it was.
You can actually see the building across the street.
Yeah, when
now.
Steve got off the air, it was coming down like a
Banshee.
like a whirlwind.
Like a banshee.
Like a banshee.
Banshee.
Give us a call, 304-214-1600 if you're out of the area. Toll free, 1-866-514-1600. I got a little flustered there.
Tongue-tied. It happens.
Flustered. Flustered.
I got a quick announcement.
Okay.
It's Easter. So there's all kinds of Easter stuffs. St. Paul's Evangelical Church on 38th and Wood Street in Wheeling, West Virginia. The Chrysagas brothers present The Day He Wore My Crown, which is a passion play. That's at 7 p.m. Wednesday and Thursday. It is a unique passion play with puppets, multimedia, light, dancers, singers, and an account from the angels. Also, an Easter special running on Good Friday and Easter Sunday at both 3 and 10 p.m. both days.
Oh, sounds good.
Actually, everyone listening, you didn't miss dinner. It's only 6:08.
What did I say?
7. Poor Jordan, you're just having a mess of a time today.
I'm going to blame it on my rabies.
Oh, jeez.
All right, you may as well say it now.
All right,
Jordan
for those
is being treated for rabies.
Well, tell the story. If you're going to talk about it, tell what happened.
There was a raccoon in my yard, and my dog said, "Ooh, a play toy," and jumped on it and destroyed it. And we sent it downstate to have it tested, and tested positive for rabies. So I got the disease.
Yes, you do.
So I'm getting treated. I just had my 3rd shot today. Didn't hurt too bad.
Out of a series of 5.
Number 2.
You were pretty scared about the first one. I mean, he was so worried that it was going to be the most painful.
That's
the guy
what I've
said
always
this is the most painful thing you'll ever shot you'll ever have. And
the
he
guy
was
at the
just
health
sweating
department told
bullets.
me, he said, it's going to hurt, and they're probably going to have to give you another shot for the pain. So I was like,
give me the shot for the pain first.
Yeah.
Then you can shoot me with anything you want.
Then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the first shot, I got it like it was after midnight. Didn't hurt. Nothing. Because I was so fearing for the worst, I was thinking they were going to like saw my arm off to give me a shot. So it was nothing. And the second one, I guess I was too lax.
Oh, sorry, wrong button.
I was too laxed on it, and it hurt. Like my whole arm was bruised. It felt like it was getting ready to fall off. I was sick for the last few days, and so were the others that were receiving the same medication.
You guys are all okay. How's the dog? I mean, it's
fine.
It's had the vaccine shot.
Like she acts she acts more now that she's like the champion because she killed something. She's never bitten anything before.
Walking across the yard, kind of.
So she's like got a little walk to her. She wags her tail. Usually when she's inside, she'll lay on the couch and chew on her bone. Now she'll like run around and prance like, woohoo! I got one.
Well, I just want to tell you, it's a scary thing when dogs kill, because once they do it,
they want to do it more.
Yeah, I'd keep squeaky toys away from her because you know what a squeaky toy represents.
The dying animal?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So my dog is continuously, she chews the squeakers out of them, but I did get this hard rubber thing that she can, and that's what, she kills that thing.
I'd never thought about that.
Yeah, that's what the squeaker's for. It's to represent squeal that animal makes when it's dying.
I stick to tennis balls and like at Respecs, they sell like a beef knuckle bone. Mm-hmm. I get that, and they're huge, but I mean, she'll turn it into a little stub.
Does she use chew on Nylabones too? It took mine a long time before she got into that Nylabone, but now, she walks around with it. Comes off in funny pieces. It's you look at it and you think this can't possibly be good for their digestive tract, but my dog eats anything and everything, and the only thing that bothers her stomach is if I actually switch foods. I mean, she can eat wood and paper and cloth and carpet and
What's the significance of the Nylabone?
it's just another thing for them to really chomp on. And when they're white and they look like hard, shiny plastic. And when they start chewing on them, though, and it starts to come apart, it comes apart in little tiny pieces that are similar to like grains of rice. But they can chew and chew and chew and chew, and it's really good for their teeth, but they're not actually ingesting an awful lot of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, try it.
Because my dog destroys those bones. I mean, she'll eat them, she'll grind them. I mean, she's a tiny little dog, but she's got some really powerful jaws.
Oh, that's how Gretch is, too.
I mean, she just tears them up.
Yep.
All right, guys, lines are open. If anybody's got ghost story, scary story, story of a haunting, somebody they knew, anything of the good nature like that. Numbers
UFO
again.
stories or anything like that, too.
Do what?
Don't exclude the UFO or Bigfoot or...
Any kind of story.
Any kind of stories of the paranormal, the weird, the strange.
That's right. With the new time slot, we got an hour of open lines, so this is your time.
Well, I want to welcome into the studio, too. Sammy the Bull is here with us.
Good to be here.
And
Sammy.
Paula.
Hi.
Now, I know you're not shy
She
with a
didn't-
mic.
she didn't want to talk.
She has co-hosted with me in the past, so
And failed miserably.
No, you did not. So don't let her sit there and act like she's all Miss Shy, because she is far from that. I wanted to welcome them to the studio, too, with us.
It is a party in here. It is a party, and we want to hear some
missing our
stories.
streamers.
I know, we're missing the wine, Sammy.
Oh, it's a bubbling. She shall be ready.
I want to go ahead, if anybody's listening, I want to give away a pair of Marquee Cinema tickets.
You're going to do
You're
Sammy's hand shoots up.
I have
Me and Lola's going.
a paranormal trivia. If you can get 10 of them right in a row. They're not hard. They're not hard.
Can we
too
tell
much?
Jordan that's way too much?
All right, what's a
Cut
good
it down
number?
like 3 or 1 or...
Well,
what do you
wait,
think?
how many
Okay.
prizes do you have?
Yeah, pull out all your goodies over there. We have people calling in.
I got some Marquee Cinema tickets, and I got 2 pizzas I can give away.
Jordan's like 50 questions. You can't get any wrong.
They're
Go.
not hard questions.
Well, okay, we have Beth on the phone here.
Hi, Beth. How you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
You ready for a question, or you got a story?
Oh, I'm ready for a question.
All right. What is
I
the...
hope.
They're easy. What is the most common shape UFO, or what is the most common shaped UFO that people have seen recently? Cigar,
Recently?
saucer, or triangle?
Saucer.
Wrong.
What?
Triangle
It's a
shape.
triangle.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Jordan. It's,
Aw, already. These are real easy.
Yeah, right off the bat. All right, that damn thing. Wow.
All right, Sammy, you want one?
I can take Lola to the movie.
No.
We'll see how hard they are. Give us another question. Sammy gets to try to answer. We'll test the questions.
All right.
Before we...
Okay. What is a... that one's hard.
I see you over there scrolling through
You
them.
better
Like,
shoot for 3.
I know. We'll shoot for 3 then.
My God, Ted will be here till
Okay.
next Tuesday.
We have some phone calls, right? Who we got?
All right, this is Leo.
Leo, how you doing?
Hi there, guys.
You ready for a question, or you got a story?
I don't know. I just heard the questions. I'm going to try to make up a story.
Is the haze seen above swamps from something paranormal?
No.
Okay, hold on. I got it's a multiple choice.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, it is ectoplasm. No, it is just a figment of your imagination. Or no, what you're really seeing is the release of methane gas.
So it's the release of methane gas.
Sammy, you been near any swamps? Or
Correct.
I haven't. So
We're 1 for 1. What dramatic event took place over Washington, D.C. in 1952? Was it A, a lunar eclipse, B, military jets that were sent to chase UFOs, or C, on Friday the 13th, many ghosts are seen flying about?
I'm going to go with B.
B is correct. Bum, bum, bum. See, they're not hard questions. He's got them.
He's only got 2.
Yeah, but he's only got to get 3.
and here's Jordan's knock him out of the park question.
How did the government explain the Roswell UFO crash in 1947? It was a secret government test craft. It was St. Elmo's fire, which is balls of static electricity like lightning that can be formed randomly.
Great movie.
Or it was just a weather balloon.
Weather balloon.
Correct. Weather balloon. You have won Marquee Cinema tickets.
High fives.
High five right
What
across the
are you
airway.
going to go see? I have to ask.
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet. I can't even remember what's out this week. I've been wanting to go watch Watchmen.
Knowing is out there.
I've seen the
No,
Watchmen.
I want to see
that one.
Knowing.
Watchmen is Watchmen worth going to see?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't take a 13-year-old.
Don't. All right. Yeah, I've heard some stories of different.
All right,
Let's just say it's there.
Can you come to the studio to get the tickets?
Not right now, no.
Well, I mean,
no,
I can put your
sometime.
name on it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Leo.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Okay, now.
First winner, 2 pizzas.
Okay, so we're going to the next person.
We're going. Who we got?
Okay, this is Larry.
Now explain where the pizzas are from and everything like that. What kind of pizza they are.
These pizzas are from the wonderful, fantastic Da Vinci's Pizza
Which Ollie's Hilltop.
at Ollie's Hilltop. Yeah.
So.
Where are they for? One free 16-inch, one-topping pizza.
And this is a great pizza. Jordan and I eat the heck out of them.
Look at me. I eat pizza all the time.
Me too.
No.
All right. Who is this again, Harry? Was that the
Larry.
name? Larry. I'm sorry, sir.
Larry.
All right. What did the dead aliens allegedly found at the Roswell crash look like? A, little men about 4 feet tall. B, same size as humans, only gray in color. Or C, large lizards.
Oh, the little guys. Yeah, the first one.
Correct.
Yeah.
We need some like.
My cat just knocked something off a table. How about that?
Oh, good kitty. All right. What did the Fox network advertise that they were showing when their video called The Alien Autopsy? Was it an alien caught in the caves of New Mexico, an alien from the Roswell crash, or please don't believe anything you see on TV?
Oh. How about please don't believe anything you see on TV?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, sure.
Wrong.
Oh, no soup for you.
They said it was an alien from the Roswell crash.
Yeah, the alien autopsy video.
That's what they were showing, actually showing. Oh, good.
Yeah, no,
That's what they claim.
proven,
Show.
yeah, it was proven to be a hoax.
All right, thank you for your call, Larry.
Thanks. Bye.
Who we got next, Lo?
Here we have Carla.
Carla, how you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. I actually wasn't calling in for to win anything. I just wanted to say how much I love your show.
Well,
and
thank you.
Nick, I remember having a class with you, Nick. It's been a few years ago, but it was at West Virginia Northern in the Hazlett building.
Okay, you said your name Carla?
Carla.
I think I do remember you.
Yeah,
was in
and then
math class, right?
Yeah.
You remember I cried. I hate math. It was, but no, I remember she was probably one of the best teachers I've had. So she made it not scary.
Poor fella.
I horribly hate math.
I'm bad at math too.
I mean, it's one of those things I really have to try at. And
Yeah, me
but she
too.
made it a very good class, and I remember you. We all passed well. So
Yeah, well.
You got any
and
story for us then?
I don't have a story, but I really do enjoy your show. I love the dynamics of all three of you together, and keep it up. I just love it.
Well, thank you.
thank you very much.
I'd like to try a question.
Oh,
though.
well, geez Louise,
Yeah,
let's
try to
go
give her
at it.
pizza.
Okay.
All right. What did the boat, the Mary Celeste, lose without a trace in 1840? Its way, its crew, or its cargo?
I don't know, it's crew.
Very
Correct. Good
Okay.
job.
Okay.
There was actually no sign of any crew, and the breakfast was still set on the table.
Ew.
Creepy. True or false? People have vanished without a trace while standing in front of other people. True, false, or no way that can happen?
good. Isn't that the same as false at the end?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's yeah.
Well, I had to have three.
True.
Correct.
Wow.
In 1809, Benjamin Bathurst vanished in front of several witnesses.
Ooh, creepy.
Next question.
Last question.
Last one. You ready? You got your thinking cap on?
Oh, I'm ready. Mm-hmm.
Which of the following early American settlements vanished without a trace? Roanoke, Jamestown, or Plymouth?
Oh, jeez.
I know this one.
It's kind of it's a little bit of a hard one. It's a little tricky.
There was a...
Never mind.
No, this is number 3.
No, I know. I wanted to know.
Lola's trying to tell you that she's telling you what she's guessing.
Oh, okay.
You're guessing. Which one are you guessing?
What?
Well, can I phone a friend? I'll phone a friend and I'll ask.
Oh,
Lola.
there's no phone in a friend. Come on.
I'll just say
What?
Roanoke?
Roanoke. I'll
Ja-
say Roanoke.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Yay!
Very good.
I had to remember to only cough once.
Well, you coughed twice, and I got kind of
Well,
worried.
I know,
Not that
but
you were going to give anything
I had to
away.
put that pause in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, will you be able to come down to the station and pick up your winnings?
Yeah, sure. I can sometime. Yeah.
Great,
All right.
great.
That'll be
Put your
out
name
left
on
for
it.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
Thank
Nice
you.
talking with you. Thank you for the nice comments.
Okay, now we have. Got more? How
Yep.
many more do you have?
I got another pizza left.
Okay, so this is the last one. Right? Michelle. Michelle? Michelle?
I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You got a story for us, or you just want to go into the questions?
I just go into the question.
I'll just go into the questions. What war was Nostradamus been credited as predicting? Has Nostradamus been credited as predicting? Was it World War I, Vietnam, or World War II?
World War II?
Yay.
Yeah, very good.
Correct. Good job. I had to click because I didn't know.
I
So
know.
you preempted me.
But I didn't want to leave her in suspense all that time.
Jordan loves the
It's like
suspense
Who
part.
Wants to Be a Millionaire? You know, you gotta.
Is that your final answer?
Is that your final answer? What technology did Mother Simpson's 16th century predictions contain?
My lord.
Who?
Cars, radios, or both cars and radios?
I think you just lost your
the,
easy.
the prediction ones are tough.
Yeah, they are.
I've never heard of the predictor.
I've never.
neither.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give you that one.
Yeah, that's it.
It was both cars and radios.
See, I was going to sneeze 3 times.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off the prediction one. What culture had the first stories of vampires? Ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, or ancient Egyptians?
An interesting question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one.
Greeks?
Well,
We're all split
three of
here.
us have like
Don't
a
poll
number.
the audience.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
poll the
everybody's
audience.
got a different number up here. What are you saying it is?
Greeks?
Greeks? And that is wrong. They were actually the ancient Romans.
Oh, I was going to. Oh, Nick. You
I-
just
who
stuck
had
one
that?
finger
I
up
pulled
because
it
you
off. I
didn't
did.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for calling, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Sorry, that was a hard question.
Okay.
That,
Now.
that was a little tough.
So we still have.
We still have a pizza left.
Okay, Wade, you going to play?
Yes, indeed.
How you doing,
Okay.
Wade? You ready for an amazing question?
He is focused.
I'll give it my all.
I'm sure Wade will get these all correct.
Here's one. Do you listen to the show much, Wade?
I catch it every now and then.
Then you might know this one because it's a topic that we actually covered here on the show. Okay? The alleged alien abduction of Barney and Betty Hill was made into a movie in 1975 called The Interrupted Journey. Who played Barney? James Earl Jones, Clint Eastwood, or Nick Nolte?
James Earl Jones.
Yes.
James Earl Jones. Good job. Did you watch that, or you listen to that one?
Beg pardon?
Did you listen to that show?
No, but I knew Barney was black.
Wade used the process of elimination.
Yes.
There you go.
True or false? People who have reported seeing UFOs once are more likely than other people to report seeing UFOs again. True, false, or that's baloney?
True.
Correct. It is true. One more left. During their alleged alien abduction, what type of test did the aliens perform on Barney and Betty Hill? Blood test, pregnancy test, or blood alcohol content test?
Wow.
The
Blood
anal
test.
probe is not on there.
I thought it would be, but
Well, that's how they test for blood alcohol.
Oh,
You know,
I see.
that's the more.
you do not
Blood
want to get
test.
pulled over on Mars.
What do you say
Yeah,
it
I'll
is?
say blood test.
Blood test is wrong. It was
Oh.
actually a
Pregnancy
pregnancy test.
Yeah.
Pregnancy test.
Which
Thank you
Barney
for-
was very much against.
Well, he
And
was
they
just
found
afraid
that
it was going to be
found
true.
Barney
Yeah.
was pregnant.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, you wouldn't happen to have a story for us, would you?
Wade.
I think he disappeared.
Okay. He's
Did we
gone.
lose him?
He was
Yeah.
abducted.
We got anybody else? Give us a call, people. We still got a pizza to give away. 304-214-1600, 866-514-16.
So can I run in the other room and call you guys?
I mean, if you really wanna, I mean, you could probably find the
With
answers.
Paula's luck,
It won't,
we'll
it won't
still have a
happen.
pizza.
It'd be more
Except the
interesting.
Sherry Jinx.
Be more interesting with Sammy trying to do. Oh, my name is Christy.
Oh, come on, somebody out there. There we go.
They're scared of the questions.
See, Lola's
after
got to
that.
yell at them before they'll pick up the phone.
It's like at that time.
Who we
like,
got?
We've got Matt.
Matt, how we doing?
Matt?
Matt.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing wonderful. I got a question for you. What did Abraham Lincoln frequently see? Was it ghosts of his children, ghosts of soldiers, or a doppelganger, which is a ghost of himself?
Oh.
It's a tough one.
What was the first one?
Ghost of his children.
No. Ghost of soldiers.
Ghosts of soldiers. Wrong.
Correct.
He actually saw a
Doppelganger.
doppelganger.
Yeah.
He saw a ghost of himself.
A ghost of self. Hey, there was a show on him the other day. Now they say that he used to sleep with a guy all the time now.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, it was
don't
just on
tell me
the other
Abraham
day.
Lincoln was gay.
No, his boyfriend was.
Oh, I get it.
Oh my!
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, this is Barb.
Barb, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, let me pull you up one here.
I think Jordan's searching
Did that
for the
one.
hard ones, aren't they?
No, well, I keep coming up with hard. Can a gun kill a werewolf? Yes, no, or only if it contains a silver bullet?
Only if it contains a silver bullet.
Now, see, now that's an easy
Yep.
one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yay!
There's a,
the cat even cheered.
My cat's applauding me. That's Scooter.
The cat's like, I want pizza.
Very vocal.
Aren't you lucky?
What
Oh,
is
yes.
lycanthropy? The need to taste human blood, the ability of a human to turn into a wolf, or the immortality that vampires possess?
It's werewolfism. The ability to turn into a wolf.
Correct.
Wow.
Barb's on it. I'm not. I fully expected her to win this.
This looks like a long question.
You ready for this?
Yes.
You sitting down because this one may be tough.
Okay.
Okay, unlike what you might have seen on the X-Files, how do the werewolves of folklore turn themselves into from humans into wolves? Is it A, they salve, typically a wolf skin,
They what now?
with a salve, with a drug?
Salve.
Is that
S-A-L-V-E
S-A-L-V-E?
is a
That's
salve.
Salve. I was wondering where you.
All right, listen.
Sorry.
Look who you got reading. With a salve, with a drug cocktail made from herbs from the woods, or they look at the moon.
This is non-X-Files type.
This is non-X-Files.
It's like traditional.
Is it with a salve, typically a wolfskin? Salve. I'm sorry.
So this is
It's,
traditional.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The werewolves of folklore.
A folklore. The moon.
That's your final answer.
Yes.
Wrong.
Oh.
It's a
I honestly
salve
thought it was
of the
salve.
wolf skin. Yeah.
A salve. What is a salve? Anybody?
An ointment.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it would
An
help
ointment.
if you didn't read the same line. for
Do over, do over.
I mean,
Okay, she gets a
I'll deserve
do-over.
another one.
Give her
She
another
gets a
question.
mulligan.
what is a ghoul? A ghost that haunts graveyards, a vampire, or an evil being that robs graves and eats corpses?
It's an evil being that robs graves and eats corpses.
It sure is.
Yay. I told you she was
I know my spooky stuff.
good. You sure do.
It wasn't
Okay,
for Jordan
just stop by
tripping
and
you up.
pick it up.
I
the
got it written
coupon
out
up.
for you. That's a pizza, a 16-inch, one-topping pizza from Da Vinci's Pizza. That's up here, same building as Ollie's Hilltop.
Yeah, bring us.
Alrighty.
Bring Scooter.
Want me to bring him up? I will.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
See you,
ya.
Barb.
Bye-bye.
Scooter, I know you guys don't know, but Scooter was found. She found him in an alley as a kitten, and he hadn't developed completely, so his hind legs didn't work. And that's why she calls him Scooter, because he would drag himself across the floor. So Todd and I were trying to help her come up with ideas, and her son did too, of ways of like putting a little cart underneath his rear end. But then Tom, our friend Tom, He had a kitten that did the same thing, and what it was is just when they're born, they're not quite developed fully in the rear, their hindquarters. And eventually, Scooter started to walk, and now he's just like any other kitten.
Wow.
So, but that's why she calls him Scooter. And
That's cute.
I saw him when he was just this itty bitty little thing scooting across the floor, dragging his little hind legs behind him. It was heartbreaking, but sweetest kitten you ever saw.
Persevered.
That would be cute. Hey, Nick, you got any articles?
Yeah,
you
we
get
got
any
some
ready?
stuff we can talk about. Sure. Actually, remember we had Michael Sala on. We have a phone call?
Yes, we do.
Let's go to that.
Wade, and he has some info for us.
All right, Wade,
Go ahead,
how we
Wade.
doing?
Hey, are you guys familiar with the Lunch with Books program at the Ohio County Library?
The Lunch with Books?
Yeah, every Tuesday they have an author come in and read from his books, and they have discussion about the books. Well, next Tuesday, April 14th, Kurt McCoy will discuss his book, White Things, West Virginia's Weird White Monsters.
Oh.
McCoy will tell about strange phantoms that lurk in the woods, like sheep squatch, the Morgantown Morlock, and let's see, McCoy grew up in Moundsville, and he'll tell us about a huge serpent that menaced the Montesano area, a UFO landing in Ogle Bay Park, and sightings of the Vineyard Hills Frankenstein, among other eerie things. So I know that fits right in the genre of
Yeah,
your
that's
show.
Bashful Billy.
So if you guys aren't doing anything at noon, stop over at the Ohio County Library downstairs in their auditorium. They have some great programs at noon on every Tuesday.
And it's
really
a Tuesday? You
Tuesday
should
at
contact him and see if he would be a guest on our show later on that day.
Yeah, we could try
Well,
to
there
do
you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Wade.
Wade.
I want a pizza for that?
Do we have any more?
I can give you a photo package.
All right, I'll stop in.
All right.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Oh, I was going to ask him. Did he say McCory or
McCoy.
McCoy? Okay, McCoy.
And that's at the Ohio County Public Library?
Yep.
All right, well,
That should be fun.
have to
That's
All right, let's,
just like Frank Frashino's stuff. We
Yeah.
take a break? There
Yeah.
we go. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. You're listening to AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. Welcome back to Whispers, everybody, on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. It is 6:39.
Okay.
I wanted to pronounce that right so that my brain can fill in. It's 32 degrees out. It looks like it stopped snowing right here next to the station, so, well, at least for now.
Well, hopefully it stops snowing for good until
Hopefully.
we get back
I
into
am
winter.
done with winter.
So done.
Real quick, give out the phone numbers. Give us a call. We've still got open lines, 304-214-1600, 866-514-1600. I kind of slipped on that 8 there. The Penn trip coming up May 22nd. That's Friday night. Well, not this Friday, but in May. If you have not paid, I know, I'm just out there today.
Yeah.
It's the rabies.
That's okay. Yeah. What are you going to do in 2 more weeks when you can't blame it on that anymore?
You'll get bit by something.
Nick let me come to the station without my helmet on.
Aw.
We got
It's all your fault, Nick.
I blame me for it all.
There's some people out there that have reserved spots that haven't paid for them yet. We have to have that money in ASAP to the Penn, so
You know who you are.
contact us as soon as possible. Sammy's
Hi,
raising
Sammy.
his hand too. The Penn needs the money so that we can make sure everybody gets on the trip. So
Now, of course, we have to have that money in 30 days before, which means we need it to get it into the account so we can pull the money out, write the check, whatever we got to do. So that means we need it
Now.
now, as soon as possible. If you want to go, you got to get it in.
all right, so if you're listening, you can call in Lola and give her an email address or something. I can send you an invoice on PayPal.
And of course, Lola's
That'll
going. I'm going. Jordan's going.
I'm going.
Paula's going.
And taking friends.
Sammy. Yeah,
Paula's bringing everybody.
Pittsburgh's coming.
Pittsburgh.
I just signed up somebody else from North Carolina
Oh,
today.
really?
Yeah,
Cool.
well, the other day.
The
Close
other
enough.
day.
Paula, you looking forward to the Penn trip?
I am. I've never been there, and I'm ready. My
You've never
daughter's
even been
going
on a
with
regular
me.
tour? Or?
No.
It's very different in the dark. I've been on both tours now, and it's such a different building when all the lights are off. It's weird.
My grandfather worked there, so I'm anxious
really?
to see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't remember him, so it's
Sure.
kind of a way to figure out what he did.
He
and
ever
what it was
tell you
like.
any stories or?
He passed when I was 3, so no, but I'm ready. I'm
I know
excited.
some of the wardens, or not the wardens, but like the guards that I've spoken to, is like, oh, it's not scary in there. It was scary when they had the people, the prisoners in there. That's when it was scary,
Yeah, I believe it too.
Yeah.
You look into some of them dark quarters.
I played football down there against the prisoners.
Really?
Did you?
Well,
On
see, you
weekends.
probably scared them though. You're,
The Intimidator.
Little mutual respect.
We will have Kelly and Barb's money soon. I mean, Kelly this week and Barb next week.
alrighty.
Very good. So Kelly
That's
and Barb
some
going.
people, and Paula is taking
Paula
care
just,
of.
Paula
she's
plus
taken
3.
care of.
Now we're
She's bringing to Pittsburgh.
Do you have a head count so far, or
Yeah, I was
I
asking
believe
this earlier, and we were trying to figure that out on the way
we're
over.
in mid-20s
good?
right now.
Our
if
goal was
everybody
to get to
pays.
30. So, of course, do you think we're having any more seats open? I think that's where we're looking at. Are we going to
I have 3 people on standby to see who's going to pay.
Okay. So,
we're right there.
I know we have a waiting list.
We'll fill it. I'm not
it's-
worried
I'm not worried about
it at
filling.
all.
I just want to make sure we get the money in because they're very finicky about.
Yeah.
They'll drop us like a bad
Hot
habit.
potato.
Oh, they write stuff all the time like, hey, you got to give us this right now, or you're not doing it.
Yeah, so
Or
I'm
you have
actually
to
have to
do
call
this on
them.
one foot, because the pen's in demand.
Yeah. Oh,
So there was
yeah.
an article I think in the newspaper talking about how much it just brings in people by the droves. It's crazy how many people go through that prison yearly.
Will we hit the whole prison or just a section of it?
We get the whole thing.
Yeah,
Get out.
No way.
When-
We got
And
the
I
whole
know
thing.
exactly where we are going.
I'm standing by you
She's
Sam.
standing by Sammy.
and
So
Sammy.
Well, I want to go up into the warden's office.
they
And
said
in the psych ward?
if any door is unlocked, we can go in it.
Now, there's of course some places you got to be careful. I think the one place that
There was one gym we were in that was
Yeah, it
on a
was-
second floor, and the whole middle of the gym, the boards were all raised up and will cave in. They're
had
like
like a bubble.
they're like, don't step more than a few steps away from the wall because you'll fall through.
So we sent like the lightest
Nice.
person we could get to walk as far into.
Sammy.
Yeah. Sammy and I are not allowed to go near the gym. They're like, do not go to the second floor. Yeah. But
I want to go to the boiler room
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's where I want to go.
and the infirmary, of course.
the
psych
infirmary is
ward,
just something to see itself. I mean, it's so
and
huge.
the sugar shack.
The sugar shack.
yeah, we'll be down there. It'll be fun.
But the
I
cool
know.
part about going on a trip like this is, if you haven't been on the regular tour, if you ever go on the regular tour, they only take you into part, like you'll go
Yeah,
through
we
North
get
Hall,
places
you'll
they
get-
don't.
They'll take you into a couple of these places, but you miss a lot of it. I mean, it's such a big prison, and I think you miss over half of it going on the regular tour because it's just not ready yet. But when they let you go, there's wherever you want to go,
So
all the way up in the general population, everything.
am I allowed to pee my pants and nobody will laugh at me?
I will. Jordan,
Oh, they'll
Jordan
laugh.
starts laughing now.
I can't. We might not talk about it on the air.
Might.
Well,
No
we
promises.
won't give names.
Okay.
We'll,
They're
we'll say-
sitting here acting like the big, Ghostbusters.
cried
They're
over
the
math.
two. I know they're the two biggest weenies you've ever
Math
seen.
is just
We are. We're
mean.
chickens.
Yeah.
math.
And I don't know if you were listening to the show. We were talking about all the stuff that was going on at the pen. Like Nick and I's first venture there was when we were learning how to do ghost hunts and all that. We were taking classes, and I think I'm gonna be all gutsy and getting a little cocky. Oh, this is fun. This is easy. And I start walking down the hallway in North Hall, and you've never been there. It's a hallway, but it's all caged in. You're completely caged in, just a couple feet over your head, and it's a long, long hall.
To make
hall.
sure that the prisoners don't climb the walls and try to get out.
Yeah, it's like the worst of the worst. Those are the people that have been killing people inside the prison, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this. So I turn off all my lights. It's pitch black dark. Then I'm walking down the hall, and we have what's called an EMF meter, which kind of will detect like the energy, that's in the area. There's no power to the place right now. Everything's shut off. So I'm halfway down, and all of a sudden, like the meter goes whee, and it goes nuts. And I have all my lights off. I just turn around and start running. I'm like, Nick.
Now, of course, I also cried and screamed at the bats.
Yeah,
I made,
they-
I
A
made,
bat?
There are bats.
How much is that?
$45.
Yeah, I made squeaky toy noises with the bats. So.
Well, see, they'll come at your lights. So if you got a flashlight, the bats will fly at your lights.
Yeah, this is
I'm
going to
not
be
afraid of
safety
bats.
tip number one. Just
Yeah,
write
safety
this
tip
one
number
down.
one.
Hold the flashlight way out here.
Well, see, because we have the equipment that we carry, and most of our stuff is in houses. Our lights, we have little, headlamps, that we can carry things in both
Yeah,
hands
that's
and be able
something
to
you
see.
want to make sure
Yeah.
you buy too. Make sure because you'll have so much stuff in your hands.
Or borrow the husband's coal mine hat.
But yeah, there you go.
There you
that
go.
will protect you against the bats attacking your head.
well, since the bats fly at the light, and the light is on Nick's forehead,
She got a mental picture.
it goes, and it's like it'll go like 6 inches to your face, but you don't see it because you only see what's right in front of you. So like out of nowhere, the bat just like.
Yeah, that's the part you have to remember. It was dark, so all of a sudden, there's these wings coming at me, and that was all I saw were the wings and fangs.
The
and,
sound that comes out of this man when he's scared.
Do we need like night vision goggles?
You don't need them.
Where can we get some, Sammy?
We'll find them.
Okay.
They're expensive.
Yeah,
We'll
we've been
borrow.
wanting to buy the
Borrow. We're
thermal
gonna buy 'em.
stuff. Yeah, like thermal imaging cameras.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So I need to get a headgear thing with a light.
Yeah, it's
I
only
would
like $10
recommend
at
that.
Walmart.
Okay.
The first time we went there, actually, someone had brought a fishing jacket. You know what I'm talking about? With all the pockets. That was probably one of the. We kind of were making a little like they're wearing fishing jackets, but then of course we're carrying like all of our stuff like this and like 3 cameras slung across our. And thinking that fishing jacket's not a bad idea.
At least it wasn't a flak jacket.
Yeah, black jacket, gun belts, and everything you need, to fight ghosts, kind of like Supernatural.
That'll be a fun time.
It would
I can't
be.
wait. I'm excited.
So
You got an
that's
article
May
for us?
26th. Yeah,
What were
I
you
actually
saying?
do. Well, I was talking about before we had Michael Sala on. About a month or two ago, talking about he talked about stargates and so forth. He's in exopolitics, and I was looking through today and found an article where he was mentioning a article about the Area 51 called "The Road to Area 51" by Annie Jacobson. It's out of L.A. Times. And what it's talking about, there's 5 people that have come forward as they call them whistleblowers. I wouldn't really call them whistleblowers. They say that they worked at Area 51, and they're saying what actually is happening there, which they're saying it was what people were thinking of as UFOs are top secret flights and so forth. They give you some stories. There's actually a pretty interesting story in here. One of them was by a man named Kenneth Collins. He's 80 years old now. He says on May 24th, 1963, he flew out of Area 51's restricted airspace in a top-secret spy plane codenamed Oxcart, built by Lockheed Aircraft Corporation. He's flying over Utah when the aircraft pitched, flipped, and headed down toward a crash. He ejected into a field of weeds, and he talks about how some people drove up in a pickup truck, and this craft had never been seen by anyone that wasn't given top secret clearance. So he has to make sure that they don't see it, and they're like, "Oh, you want us to drive you back out to your to your plane that crashed, so you can check on it or whatever." And of course he can't let them do that, so he makes up the story. "Oh no, it's got a nuclear weapon attached to it. You can't go out there. So drive me over here to this air base." But what they're talking about, that would be UFOs, or these ox carts were designed in such a way that made them look like UFOs when the sunlight would hit them or when they were flying at night, and that's why people claimed there were so many UFOs flying. You get a question or? Oh, Mike, Jordan is gone.
Hello. There we go.
We
Sorry
lost
about
you for
that.
a little bit.
What is an ox cart?
Oxcart is the top secret spy plane. That's
Okay.
the code name of the plane. It's designed in such a way that it would look like a UFO. What you would typically think of, like the saucer.
So kind of like a stealth bomber type of shape.
Sure. It's
Because that's
top
kinda
secret
UFO-y.
craft. Yeah. And so what Michael Sala, of course, if you remember, Michael Sala was very much into the government's covering up UFOs, and what he's talking about is that. Sure, there's a lot of people might be actually seeing these top secret crafts that are flying around that are that we think of as UFOs because we've never seen them before. But at the same time, he's saying these, this isn't exactly the only part of the story that, there was UFOs reported before the Ox Cart project was there. My background of that is, how about what was before that,
Well, it wasn't, was it called the Blackbird?
SR-71, yeah.
Yeah, that was a plane that was out at Area 51 for testing, and they always said it never existed, and when they finally came out with it, in like the 90s, they were like, oh yeah, we do have an Area 51, and this is where we've been testing this new plane that we've said we never had, So I don't think that aliens and stuff are out there. I mean, I don't know. I think there's some government stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, they talk about with the Area 51 or even the Dulce base. Actually, I got to watch UFO Hunters, their underground base episode, which was very interesting what they were talking about, how they compared it. And, we were talking, if they're going to have an underground base, everybody there would know about it. I mean, there's so much stuff going on. And they brought up the best example of why we wouldn't know about it in our own backyard, more or less. Anybody think of what they talked about?
No.
A lot of quiet people. No. Greenbrier. Yeah, there you go. Greenbrier.
Wade knows.
Now, have you ever heard of Greenbrier, or what was that, Greenbrier, Jordan?
Wrong turn.
Wrong turn. Oh, that's one of your horror movies, yeah.
Greenbrier's the presidential thing, right?
Yeah, presidential.
Yeah, it's one of the bunkers.
One of the bunkers.
Yeah.
It was there for, years, and nobody knew that it was there underground. There was all this space, that they could take Congress and put them there, and they could stay for. How long could they stay there? They had food for months. And it was, and nobody knew it was there. They during this episode of UFO Hunters, they walk up to the to a wall. It looks just like a wall.
Yep.
And she's like, "What's right here?" They're like, "Well, through that door." It's like, "Well, no, through this." And she pulls it back, and here's this steel, door. Extreme, there were, tons and tons of weight on this door that they had to unlock to go into. And it was just a massive facility. So, I think there's a way that they could have these, Area 51, it's the best unkept secret we have. The government keeps on denying it, but everybody knows it's there. We have pictures of it from Russia.
Look what we, okay, here in West Virginia, we got mines everywhere.
Sure. Okay,
and mining is huge here. So, you have a mine that shuts down. How deep do they go? They go, a mile, sometimes farther than that, underground. That mine shuts down. All they do is board over it and say, "Don't enter."
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much, okay, this is a closed down mine. All the government would have to do is start moving stuff down in there. Here they are. They could have a base a mile underground, and we wouldn't think of anything of it because we just think, oh, that's a closed mine.
Well,
how many of them are like that?
Yeah, the mine.
Mothman.
What's that?
Mothman. TNT area. They got those tunnels all the way through that. That's a forestry thing.
Yeah, those
we talked about that. Was it Jeff Walmsley?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, as soon as you have something that's a secret that nobody knows exactly what's happening, all the ideas start flying.
Well, conspiracy theory. That's this country is great for that. Well, every single thing that happens, it can't be the truth. It's too simple to be the truth. It has to be a conspiracy.
But that's because we have such lack of faith in our government.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole reason we have conspiracy theories, because nobody trusts anything the government says anymore. So when they say something that might sound good,
gotta be a lie.
They're doing something.
And the sad part is, we'll get on here, we can laugh about, some of the crazy theories, but then, and I was going to call in and talk to Steve about this a couple of days back, these people really do believe them, and they will act on them. The gentleman in Pittsburgh who felt that Obama was going to take his guns and all this, he believed that. He was a very heavily into this conspiracy theory that, that the government was about ready to come in. When the police started coming, he got his AK-47 because that's the gun he had, right?
Yeah.
And he was ready. And how many? 3 cops, 4 cops?
Yeah,
police.
3 cops.
And so Timothy McVeigh, another conspiracy theorist who believed that whatever it is he believed, I can't even remember what it is now. It's another ludicrous theory.
Well, he was a survivalist.
He was a survivalist. The militia movement back in the 90s. Takes a bomb and blows up the Oklahoma City. It's
the Murrow Building.
The Murrow Building. It's and they're out there, and it's.
Well, and I'll tell you, increasingly, the more unhappy this country becomes, there are people openly talking now about.
Rebellion,
I don't know. I don't know if you'd say armed insurrection, but certainly some type of a revolution.
Oh, of course. And the thing is, I think we should be allowed to tell our government we don't like what they're doing, but I also don't feel we can, pick up guns and start going against them. There's other means. I
don't know. We wouldn't exist today if somebody hadn't picked up guns.
Didn't we do that to Britain?
Yeah.
I was going to say, but there's a point. They did talk for a while before they're, if they didn't listen. I mean, George was crazy.
We're having a tea party.
Yeah.
We're having a tea party.
Now, if you were going to do the
this
tea party,
15th.
you said you were going to do it. Are you going to dress up as an Indian?
Absolutely not. I want to wear a fancy
Native
little
American?
hat.
Okay.
Yes.
A big red hat.
Yes. No, I'm not dressing up as a Native American. Are you?
I'm actually thinking about coming to. I don't think I'm going to dress up as a Native American.
I could see Nick, like with his buckskins on,
Oh, it's a little feather in
his
his
war
hair.
paint,
skins anymore.
his leotards.
No, he's not Robin Hood.
Yeah, but we were talking about
Men
the
in
way
tights.
the conspiracy theory with the deaths in Pittsburgh. I mean, even in the newspaper this morning, it was talking about 53 people who died over the last month.
Oh, I know. We've
Just
had
in
several
mass
murders.
The gentleman up the INS building, I think. What is it in New York?
Yeah, I mean,
if there's just craziness out there.
With this outbreak of it, it's like, okay, all it's gonna take is for a conspiracy theorist to believe in something. I mean, and the guy in the INS building, it was because he didn't. What was it? He didn't think that they taught him English enough. So I mean, it was like, okay,
he was
the government
embarrassed
was
that people teased him because he didn't speak English.
He said
well
the police
enough.
were also undercover police were harassing him too. Of course.
Well, see, you've got to factor in the mental illness part. I mean, every single one of these people, when you take anything like that to an extreme, there's something wrong with you.
The one I can think back the most was, the gentleman in Virginia. Where college was that? The
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, and
you almost had it.
I knew it was in Virginia. I could. It's been a while, and sadly, these things do disappear from your mind. And you stop thinking about them. Once again, another person disgruntled goes crazy.
It's a shame.
How much does it take to push somebody to that point to going over the edge? And the worse it gets, is it going to be something that keeps happening?
It's something so minute that finally is the trigger.
In Pittsburgh, it was over dog peeing on the floor. Mm-hmm. That's what kicked it all off.
Yeah, the mom and the son arguing.
All right, everybody. Up next, we have Mr. Jim Butcher, a best-selling author on the New York Times.
Best-selling author.
Stick around for that. It's time for the news. AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog.
Across this open sea, sparkle blue beauty like a young man's dream. Oh, my world is falling in all around me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Whispers on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. It is 7:08 p.m., 32 degrees, still cold, not snowing. Keep your fingers crossed.
Are you sure it's not flying around out there somewhere?
I can't see it but the building next door is white, so I can't really tell if it's anything, but I'm not seeing it.
It's just super windy. Super windy.
It's a shame.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's supposed to be 70 degrees this coming weekend.
It was 70 this weekend.
I know, it went from 70 to 30?
I had Sunday. I had the windows rolled down in my car when I got out of it because I got in and it was like really hot and I still got my drums in my car. So I left all my windows down so that it wouldn't like overheat everything.
Yeah.
And here now it's freezing outside.
I know it. It's
crazy.
not right. It's just not right.
Do you think Al Gore has something with the climate change?
It's all his fault, damn it.
I've been wanting to do something like Al Gore put his face on like Captain Planet, and have the Planeteer. It would be.
Well, make sure you get the internet in there because he's the one who invented it.
Of course he did.
He could be holding a laptop.
Yeah. Captain Planet, he's our hero.
Have like the satellite coming down.
All right, everybody. At him, but he might have something. He might have a point.
On the line, we have Mr. Jim Butcher, Jim is a New York Times best-selling author. He has written The Dresden Files, the newest book out today. It's called Turncoat. You with us, Jim?
Oh, wait a minute.
Maybe?
There you go.
Jim?
How's that?
Oh, there we go. How we doing?
Doing well. How about y'all?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Cold.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is it cold? You're in Chicago. You've been doing signings all day. Is it cold there?
Actually, I'm up in Minneapolis by now.
Oh, my
you're
goodness.
in Minneapolis now.
It's actually nice in Minneapolis. It's about 50 here.
Well, good.
50
That's
would be
heading this
great.
way then,
There we go.
days from now.
Now, you had a signing party last night at midnight releasing the book Turncoat, correct?
Yeah.
A lot of people turn out?
Yeah, it was a zoo. There were about 400 people there. I wound up signing about 1,200 copies of various books. And they ran a costume contest for folks who were there, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, great. Now, I'm a big fan of the series. That's why I contact you to come on the show. I'm on Blood Rights right now. So,
right.
And I'm trying to get to Turncoat. I started reading in January. So, and I thought I would pick up the first book. I run a sci-fi and fantasy book club online. We had it as one of those selections. I'm like, I'll pick it up and read it. I got addicted. So here I am. I'm on Blood Rights. I've been reading them straight. So you're taking my. I was up till 12:30 last night because I got addicted to reading this part.
I know. I feel more like a supervillain every year.
See what you're doing? You're taking away my sleep. You're taking
exactly.
away. I'm going to be sending bills. I need these minutes back. So now, tell us a little bit. What exactly inspired you to go into this? Actually, some people here.
I've never read the book, so I'm really curious.
Them.
I've been given promos all day for this, and I'm interested to hear what the series is completely about. What's going on? Why should our listeners go out and buy this new book?
There's been several quotes about it that I've enjoyed. I think the one that they put on the cover, they decided to put on the cover was Philip Marlowe meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But the one that's my personal favorite is Dirty Harry Potter.
Yeah, there we go.
Dirty Harry Potter.
That's kind of my personal favorite. It's basically I'm writing hard-boiled private eye novels, except instead of a private eye, my main character is a wizard, and instead of gangsters and stoolies and so on, I populate the landscape with ghosts and werewolves and vampires. So basically that's where it starts right there. People go to Harry Dresden when, they need help, when absolutely no one else can help him, or when they're facing some supernatural threat, and he goes out and unwisely helps whoever needs it.
Unwisely, I like that.
Yeah, well,
and he gets beat up
if he was
pretty
wise,
badly.
He'd stay at home and read a book, but it just doesn't happen.
There was even a series made on this on Sci-Fi, right?
Indeed, it ran for a whole season.
That's where I know the name from.
I saw the look on your face, Lola. I was like, aha.
Well, I was on the website earlier, and I read all the time. You can ask anybody here. I never walk out of the house without a book because you never know when your car is going to break down or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So I cannot believe that I haven't discovered these books before. And then I'm on the website, and you're so prolific. My goodness, you've written so much. But now this is a series I'm definitely going to have to either get from Nick or, start getting it from the library or something and start the series.
Yeah,
by all means. Get the library. First one's free.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So is the second one most times. Yeah.
He has a deal where the library can only carry Stormfront.
That's
so
it?
then they get you in Stormfront. I'm kidding.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't know.
She had that look like, what?
Yeah, well, I guess it's an idea, but the problem with that is that then the first introduction to the writing is always the book I knew the least about writing when I created it.
That's true.
Though, the books, it really, because, when I first started reading, I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, kind of like a Harry Potter, kind of thing. But the character, Harry Dresden himself is very... sometimes he's a jerk. I was, reading last night. I was thinking, why are you saying that? Be nice and they'll, a little sugar, but he's just not that way. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those people that sometimes he gets in a bad mood and he just snaps.
Oh, like me.
Like you, that's why you would like this, yeah.
No, I don't really know anyone like that, but myself personally.
So I mean,
yeah, Harry's he's got a real bad habit of shooting his mouth off, regardless of how much trouble it's going to get him into.
Usually
which
to
also
somebody
makes
that
it
can
fun.
kill him really easily. Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially those people. Those
Yeah.
are the ones he just absolutely has to mouth off to prove to himself how they don't impress him.
I mean, not only is he also dealing with, like, the first, especially some of the first books, he's dealing with, demons, vampires, all these things that can kill him. Then he starts mouthing off to, like, the local gangster, the guy that's running all the crime in town. And, this is not the guy you want to mouth off to. So, and it's, go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Jim, have you ever seen the show Supernatural?
Indeed.
Is it like that? I'm trying to picture this, and the only thing that keeps coming into my mind is that kind of scenario.
In some ways, it's like that. The world at large in the Dresden Files, it kind of remains willfully unaware of the whole supernatural thing. In Chicago, where Harry lives, he's often consulted by Special Investigations of Chicago Police Department, which is this department that's been created to deal with all the stupid, crappy problems, and which includes any time something completely inexplicable comes up, it gets dumped on Special Investigations, and they hire Harry on as a consultant. So he's got to get and solve all these crimes. Their goal is kind of to fill in all the blanks on the forms and to make sure everybody understands. No, it wasn't a Bigfoot. It was a guy in a rubber mask, like on Scooby-Doo. But they know that they actually have to deal with these monstrous things, and they often go to Harry for help when they need it.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
it sounds good.
I think you'd like it. Now let's talk about different aspects to people. Where of course this is a paranormal show, so we talk about vampires and stuff all the time. Now I like the concept of there's 3 courts of the vampires. You have the Black Court. You have the Black Court, Red Court, White Court, and actually there's a 4th one, the Jade Court, correct?
Right.
That was kind of through in there.
Real isolationists. They don't get involved much.
Yeah. So can you kind of explain your idea behind each of these courts?
Well, I didn't want to just run with the stereotypical, just sort of general issue Hollywood vampire.
Sure.
I wanted to come up with something different than that. So I decided, what if our typical idea of a vampire that we're used to now in our culture is the result of a lot of different encounters with different kinds of vampires. It's sort of along the lines of the 3 blind men and the elephant. Where one of the blind men feels the elephant's ear and says an elephant's like a fan, and the other one feels the elephant's side and says the elephant's like a wall, and the other one feels the elephant's tail and says the elephant's like a rope, and they're all right and they're all wrong. And that was sort of my idea with vampires. What if human beings, the picture of a vampire we've put together is all right and all wrong? So I thought, all right, well, we can divide it up into several different kinds of vampires, and they just kind of all have been, confused together into our standard version of a vampire. So there's the Stoker-esque vampires from the Black Court, and the blood-drinking, ugly monster vampires from the Red Court, and the super sexy Anne Rice vampires from the White Court. And that's how I wound up, kind of breaking that down.
Now, the Jade Court, you haven't really spoken, at least from the books I've read, haven't really went into that yet. You said they're kind of super secretive, they don't bother anybody. How are they? Are they kind of a mix of them, or do they have their own little...
Those are the ones that
curse?
I bring in a little bit more of the Asian tradition vampires into it.
Okay.
There's a lot of different Asian traditions for vampires, and they sort of belong to that court.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting idea. Now we have Jordan here. Of course, you probably weren't listening the first hour. Jordan has rabies. That he's, and there's a chance he could turn into a werewolf.
Oh, for goodness!
I'm bringing this in. This is an expert on werewolves, so.
Is there any hope for me, Jim?
Yeah.
All he's going to do is foam at the mouth a little bit more than he normally does. That's all.
Yeah, it's now. And I
Hopefully
bring
I'll
that
get
up
housebroken
because that was probably one of my favorite books in the series. You brought in the werewolves, Billy and the Alphas, and there was different ideas of how people, what kind of werewolves are out there. So what does Jordan have to look forward to? Being a werewolf.
Oh, well, it depends on what kind of werewolf he wound up being. I just figured out, I was just going, okay, I'm going to write a werewolf book this time. And then I went out and started researching werewolves and found out that, like the Hollywood-style werewolf doesn't really exist in folklore. and I wanted to draw everything from actual folklore, so I went out and started digging. It's like, oh my gosh, there's all these different werewolf traditions, and so then the book turned from who is the werewolf to which kind of werewolf is responsible for all of this being done as I started outlining it. And
which is perfect for a mystery.
Yes, exactly. Plus, it also multiplied the number of bad guys who could beat up my protagonist. And I'm always in favor of anything that makes Harry's day a little bit rougher.
Yeah, you hate him. I don't understand
why.
why.
No,
he's made you so much money.
I'm doing this. I'm helping him grow as a human being.
Okay. Adversity makes the heart grow fonder, or something like that.
Well, what doesn't kill you
makes you stronger. There you go. By the end of the series, he's going to be like granite or something. Nobody will be able to break him.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's going up that way anyhow. I'm planning on writing a big old apocalyptic trilogy to cap off the series with in the future, and so I got to have him whipped into superhero shape by then.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you planning on killing him off, or kind of going the route like you kill him, and then all of it's going to be a dream, and it was actually some little boy? Like,
he can't tell us what he's doing.
Well, I'm getting mad at these TV series. It's like, it was all a dream.
The Sopranos ending.
Yeah. I'm getting tired of these, so I'm making sure. Don't do that.
Just no, it was all a dream endings. Okay.
Yeah, all right, good. Write that down.
I got it. All right. I've got a pad of paper right here. No dream ending.
Don't do it. No.
Nick will go into a psych hospital. He'll get admitted if you go to a dream ending with one of these.
Well, I'll avoid it then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll save me a lot of money, bills in the future. You're laughing at me. I can't believe that. All right. Now you also bring in fairies at some point in the story. Fairy godmothers, the different courts of the fairies and everything. Demons. What kind of, where exactly what kind of research you do going into the demons?
Well, going into specifically going into the Knights of the Black and Denarius, I'd had this crew of holy knights who would occasionally help Harry out. These guys that each wielded a sword with a nail from the crucifixion worked into the blade, and these were the holy swords, the Knights of the Sword or the Knights of the Cross, and they were there to kind of be pure good guys, to always show up and help. And then I figured, well, but if I've got these pure good guys, I've got to have some bad guys. And I thought to myself, well, what other kind of good kind of Christian-based iconography can I use for it? And I said, hey, 30 pieces of silver. That's awesome, because that means 10 times as many bad guys as good guys. And again, it was going to make Harry's day rougher, so I was in favor of it. So I built up these Knights of the Black and Denarius, each of which carries one of the 30 coins that was paid to Judas, and there's a fallen angel that lives inside every coin, and can convey great knowledge and wisdom and power and creepy shapeshifter things upon whoever picks it up and uses it.
Now, where'd you come up with this? Like, how were you sitting at home one night? The power was out.
Oh,
where did this come from?
It probably happened while I was doing something like completely dull and monotonous, like driving cross country or mowing the lawn. Where pretty much your brain's just in neutral while you're getting done something fairly simple.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when ideas tend to hit me.
And do you pull over, start writing down notes, or?
No, usually, because they come at me all the time, and I figure if they're really solid and good, they'll be something I won't dare forget. So that way I kind of weed out the lame ideas, because sometimes an idea looks great at first, and then when I go back to it later, I go, wait a minute, that was just dumb.
Hopefully not after it's been published. Like, you know what, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, so far I haven't ever felt quite that much regret about anything.
Just delete it off the website. No, that never happened.
Right.
Yeah, that was a dream. That's when you use that. Now, I did mention fairies, of course, making Harry's day worse and worse. He did have a fairy godmother, which would seem like a great thing to have. Everybody wants the fairy godmother, bippity boppity boo.
Yeah, except she's evil and wants to drink his blood, and she thinks her idea of helping him is, I'll turn you into one of my hunting hounds, and then you'll be happy the whole rest of your life. That kind of thing.
Poor guy.
Yeah, well, like I said, I pretty much, The only time I really a lot of times authors will put themselves, will have like a surrogate for themselves in a book. The only time I do that is when Harry is facing something and goes, I can't believe this. Someone out there just hates me, and that's me. I'm the one that plans this stuff for him. If I ever actually got to meet Harry Dresden, he'd punch me right in the nose.
He wouldn't like you, that's for sure.
It reminds me, have you ever watched the series Rescue Me?
I have not.
Okay, well, the main character in Rescue Me, no matter what happens, I mean, he can finally do something good, and he's just like a horrible person. He can finally do something good, and then, like, his whole family will die. It's like the guy never gets a break, and it's every time you mention something going on with Harry, that's what it...
I mean, Harry starts out, he's more or less orphaned at some point. I mean, it's from birth. Everything just goes bad.
Yeah, things have been harsh for him.
Now, I know earlier they were curious about the name. The full name being Harry Blackstone
Copperfield Dresden.
And this actually conversations about the name all day.
Yeah, I've been asking, like, why the name? Why the long name?
Well, when I was making the character up, I wanted to do 4 names because it was just wackier than 3. And when I was making the character up, I wanted to name him after famous magicians. So I took Harry Houdini, and then also Harry Blackstone Jr., so Blackstone. And then I wanted to throw Copperfield in there because, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
No, of course.
That he did.
And that's cool. And that was kind of where the names came from. Is I wanted to name him after a bunch of magicians, famous performers.
And then Dresden for the firebombing of Dresden, kind of a.
That was kind of an after thing that got added on, but yeah, I mean he does tend to be kind of hard on buildings.
Yeah,
so.
He does. He uses a little bit of the fire magic a little too much. Which speaking of the magic system in the book. Not exactly like what Harry Potter has. Not exactly like
Aleister Crowley type of.
Not exactly. It's very very different. Can you explain kind of the research you went into with the magic and why you took it in this direction?
Okay. I guess the first thing to say is that when I was putting the magic together for the book, I wanted to tie it in with my central character, and I didn't want the magic to be some kind of semi-sentient force that went out and did things on its own, and I didn't want it to be something that was just relatively simple. If you had a stick and said the right word, something worked. But I didn't want it to be like an overly involved spiritual force either. I wanted to be kind of a workman-like kind of magic. I mean, I sort of see Harry, instead of seeing him as a shaman or a wise man type of character, I see him as a plumber. It's just he happens to work with magic and knows how all these things fit together. So I kind of, when I started building it, I wanted to build it on a model of actual physics. So the things that you can apply to magic, the energy cannot be created or destroyed, and things that actually sort of made sense. You can throw out a fireball at somebody, but you've got to get all that heat energy from somewhere, and that comes into your thinking when you're trying to do it. So that was the model I kind of had in mind when I wanted to get started. And then I went out and I just started reading up on current magical belief and practice. So I was checking out several different flavors of Wiccan magic. I went reading through a little bit of Kabbalah type magic, and just kind of sat down for a week or 3 going through these books and trying to figure out, okay, what is the actual thinking on it and how things work, and how can I make my story universe include elements from all these different sources, because I wanted the Dresden Files universe to be the sort of place that was very inclusive of faith and of folklore and of different traditions of magic, and kind of wound up with Harry. Harry happens to be a very blue-collar sort of practitioner, I mean, he'll go out and get something done, and he's very practical and workmanlike about his magic. There's not really much in the way of any kind of religious belief that comes into it. There are other people who do work their religious faiths into using their magic, but it's not something that's totally necessary. And then there are other folks who just have faith without the benefit of magic, and that has its own kind of power, especially when it's being applied by somebody like the Knights of the Cross against whatever dark and evil thing they're after this week.
Makes sense. Now, you're talking about he doesn't have to necessarily have a wand. Now he does carry the staff and a blasting rod, which and then in the TV series, which I thought was kind of interesting, they decided to change this. They changed a lot of elements, which at first when I first started reading, because I'd actually watched the TV series first, I'm thinking, well, this is kind of different. I kind of like the idea, but the more I got along into the books, I like the idea there better. In the TV series, instead of like a staff, you would think of like a made out of wood. He carried a hockey stick.
Right, a little bit more concealable.
Which is it is, and then but then Harry's not somebody necessarily that would conceal things either, which I think took away from the character. The blasting rod was a drumstick, so it was kind of interesting. But what exactly, you don't see too many blasting rods, I guess, in other magic, at least that I haven't, other fantasy magic kind of stories. What's the difference between the two?
Between a blasting rod and a magic wand?
And just a staff. Well, a staff, Yeah.
Well, I mean, in Dresden's world, the reason he has those tools is because there's something that helps him to focus his magic. He has no power whatsoever, or no problem whatsoever having enough power to get things done. What he lacks is finesse, and he's kind of a young wizard, so he's still learning. So he's kind of created these tools that help him get all that strength he has focused a little bit more clearly, so it's more controllable. And the staff is just sort of his general purpose tool that he can use for all kinds of different magic that helps out a bit while he's doing it, so that hopefully he burns down a few less buildings. And the blasting rod, though, is specifically made for him to throw a lot of really hot fire in a little tiny space at somebody.
Gotcha.
So that's his six gun. The stick is more of a general purpose tool, but his sidearm is the blasting rod.
And of course, another one of his tools, one of my favorite characters in the book, Bob the Skull. You never just floating, spirit of intellect, I believe, the way you mentioned in the book. You'd seem like, but extremely, hilarious. His, love of kind of raunchy romance novels. Now, your wife actually writes romance novels. Is that correct?
Indeed, she does.
Now, is this you're making fun of her in a little bit? Bob the Skull's reading the romance novels.
No, not really.
No, not really.
I just wanted him to have something. Because I could have stacked up Playboys there as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Bob thinks the romance novels are actually, a little bit. They're a little bit more erotic.
Well, now he would be reading the Playboy articles. He wouldn't be looking at the pictures.
No. Are you kidding, Bob? Of course he'd be looking, but
yeah.
You can go through pictures a lot faster than you can go through a book, and he's a 1,000-year-old being. He's not in a hurry.
I got a question for you. Somebody just asked what book the Knights of the Cross was in.
The Knights of the Cross, Michael, who's kind of their poster child, Michael Carpenter appears in book 3, which is called Grave Peril. And then all three of them show up on stage for the first time in book 5, which is called Death Masks. That wasn't the first title, but that was what title we wound up settling on. So,
okay, and so the Knights in the Cross start in the 3rd book and go all the way through.
Yeah, they're kind of an ongoing storyline. They're not in every book, but they're one of the big subplot stories that I'm telling as we go along.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now you've had 11 books published. Turncoat just came out. One of the central. At least from the, I didn't want to read too far into it, to get spoilers, because that would ruin, everything else for me. This story kind of centers, though, around the wardens within the White Council. Can you talk a little bit about your idea behind the White Council? I know the head of it's called the Merlin, and kind of your idea of where that's going, where you got the idea from that and everything.
Well, the original idea from the White Council came from the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings, there was a White Council of the wise, and it was Gandalf and Saruman and several of the other Lord of the Rings characters who were the magic heavy characters, and I really liked that concept. And I thought, well, really if the wizards are going to exist in this world, then they're going to have some kind of an organization of one kind or another, and the White Council winds up being kind of like the bar organization for wizards. You you got if you want to be someone who's taken seriously, you got to show up, you got to pass their tests, you got to put in your time helping out, and then you're recognized as a full wizard.
Now, what kind of laws are govern the use of magic in the world?
Well, the White Council enforces 7 laws of magic that are basically a list of thou shalt nots, and their purpose is to enforce these laws and to prevent wizards from using their abilities to abuse people. These are basically laws that are supposed to be restraining wizards from using their powers to do too much harm. And to enforce the laws, they've got a group of wizards who are known as wardens. And the wardens are the ones they're sort of the White Council's interior police. And if you break one of the laws, it's the wardens who show up to drag you off for a trial. And generally, you if you're not killed resisting arrest, then you get killed a few minutes after you show up for the trial. They
believe in a right to a speedy trial.
Yeah, exactly. Right to a speedy trial and an even speedier execution.
Now, here a quick question: like age groups, what would this book be rated? Like, what's age appropriate for this type of series?
Let me think. Turncoat would probably come off PG-13, maybe an R. If depending on how the director did it with all the various violence, maybe it might go up to an R. But in general, I know there are some folks who said, I let my 4-year-old read this book. And I'm like, are you, what? A 4-year-old?
4-year-old can read? What?
Yeah, that was the other part. Yeah.
Yeah.
A 4-year-old can read? Wow, that's a sharp kid. But, maybe you don't start them off with the book that starts off with the dead prostitute with the heart ripped out of her chest. That might not be appropriate for most 4-year-olds. Maybe this one is. I don't know. But
so would you say that like early teens, late teens?
Yeah, if that.
There's some
one of
sex
the things
scenes.
I strongly believe that parents are well advised to read themselves and make up their own minds. But I didn't write it with like kids in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's there's some sex scenes in it, so you're gonna skip through those. You'll be okay.
I was making sure I was age appropriate to read them.
Yeah, Jordan's never sure.
Right.
Now, I and Jordan makes fun of me for this. I'm a big nerd, so
what?
You make fun of me for it all the time. And I did notice on your website that you're coming out with a Dresden Files role playing game.
Yes, indeed.
This is going to be awesome, Jordan. You're going to join me. He's laughing now. In one of your stories, you actually have Harry the Wizard joining the Dungeons and Dragons game as a barbarian.
Yes,
which,
indeed.
And he's looking, this is too much like work,
Yeah, exactly. He resisted for a long time. No, playing D&D, that's too much like work.
Yeah, which it is. Especially, for someone that has to deal with this stuff all the time. It's kind of
right.
like, oh, geez. You'd think you'd want him on your team, though. He knows what to do. He's faced this before.
But the thing is, though, I wrote another short story that starts off in the middle of their D&D game, and Harry's rampaging around as this barbarian, and then a fireball goes off 26 feet away and stops, just a foot from his nose. And he stops and starts complaining because that's not how magic works. And everybody at the table's like, "Oh, I can't believe this. This is like taking a physics major to a Star Trek movie."
Which it would be. Now, speaking of Star Trek, are you going to be going out to watch the Star Trek? Because you seem like you are a nerd to some degree.
Oh man, I can fly my nerd flag with anyone and not lower my head in shame. I'm super nerd.
Let's see.
I'll be at the new Star Trek. But yeah,
are you going to be dressing up though? Did you dress up last night for the Harry Dresden thing?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
I didn't want to. I have the right coat for it and all. But I didn't want to do that. I was dressed up as a competent author.
Yeah.
Nick and I dressed up for you. That was.
Oh yeah.
No.
Don't lie to the guest. I am wearing a shirt and tie. I will say that.
Cool.
That was for something I did earlier. So nerd credentials then real quick. Are you going to be dressing up for the Star Trek? Have you ever dressed up for anything at all?
Yeah, actually,
Star Wars.
I do live role play every couple of weeks, where I'll actually strap on like the chainmail armor and stuff and go smack people around with Nerf weapons.
Awesome.
Is this like Jordan sent me a video one time with somebody throwing like bean bags, going fireball, fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, exactly. There we go. Okay, you passed the nerd test then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I had another question I just thought about, and I was trying to remember what it was earlier. You said that Harry is a young wizard.
Right.
And some of the in some the book, there's a lot of older wizards that are living 100, 200, 300 years. I think 300 is kind of the limit. Does this mean that they're more of a different race of humans, or does the power of the magic itself, because it does draw from life, does that what gives them the ability to live longer lives?
One of the side effects of using magic and using it in a constructive rather than in a damaging or disruptive way is that it sort of has the effect of reducing entropy on your body, so that when your cells replicate, you get a clearer copy instead of the slowly fading copy of a copy of a copy thing. Your cells actually they get to a little bit more efficient at that. So as a result, wizards get to live longer.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean they can recover from wounds better. I mean they're not like Wolverine, like their wounds just instantly closing up. But if you blow out your knee and you're going to have some surgery and then you're going to have a bum knee the rest of your life. But the wizard will get over it in 30 or 40 years.
Gotcha. I mean he would almost have to at this point. I mean you got to give him something. As much stuff as
it's true, because I mean I beat him like a dog. I mean seriously, I just can't write a chapter without having somebody at least insult him, and usually they're coming at him with baseball bats or something too. So
baseball bats, demons, fire.
Flaming poo from the Monkey Demons was a good one.
That was actually enjoyable.
Now when you write, let's say a demon or a fairy or something that's getting ready to attack your guy, do you use influence from your friends, people you know? Do you write people you know or situations you've been in into your books?
Rarely. I mean, there are some characters who very few people have been inspired by real life people. The character of Shiro, for example, in Death Mask, he's one of the Knights of the Cross. Was loosely inspired by a couple of karate instructors I've had. And then there was a character in Book 10, White Knight, whose name was Anna, who was based on Anna, who won the charity auction, where I offered to auction off a grisly death in one of the Dresden Files books, and she wound up donating $3,000 to charity, and I put her in the book as a character and killed her horribly.
Nice.
Now, see, Jordan's always wanted to get into a book and die a grisly death.
That's what I tell other authors that we have on, write me in and kill me good.
Right. But other than that, I mean, I can say that I will often say that most of my female characters are based on my wife. And that is not inclusive of that's not just the good guys, so.
Hopefully not the fairy godmother, right?
They're all based on my wife somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
She's
I am so sorry.
She's an exceptional woman, and
she just wants your blood.
I respect and fear her.
So hopefully your wife's not like Angelina Jolie carrying a vial of your blood around or anything like that, right? Just making sure.
God, I hope not.
Right?
But you never really know, do you?
You don't. You might want to check her purse. Be like, why do I have needle marks on my arms?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. Now, I've wanted to be an author. I think Jordan. I think everybody. Paula, I don't know about you. We have Paula also with us. She's been quiet. We've always wanted to write a book at one point. What kind of tips would you give someone that's wanting to start out as an author? What's your process?
I would say, well, first of all, I would say go to my live journal at jimbutcher.livejournal.com.
Okay.
And there, I've written a series of articles that are specifically intended for aspiring authors. That's pretty much just, I mean, it's just what I learned as I was coming up as a writer. I mean, I ignored my writing teacher for the longest time, and when I finally shut up and started listening to her is when I actually started doing well. And those articles are sort of the version, the dumbed down to the level where I understood it version of what I learned from her.
Now, would you say writing's a hard job?
It can be. Although my answer to that question is going to vary based upon how close I am to deadline.
Sure.
It's one of these. It's one of the jobs. It is a hard job. It's not a complicated job, but it's hard. It's one of those things that's simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
Well, at least one of the authors, another author I read, George R.R. Martin. People wait. It seemed like years. When I first started reading this series, the first comment someone told me, "Oh, well, don't get to the end because he won't write the other book for another 20 years."
He does seem to take his time with those. There are some writers who need to do that.
Now, you seem like you're getting these out pretty quick. Do you set yourself up with a deadline of, you need to have this many pages by this day, or do you kind of just sit down and let it flow, or, how do you take this as kind of a 9-to-5 job, or whenever the inspiration hits you, or?
No, I've got to do it as well. I don't do 9 to 5 because I don't start writing until about 10 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
But that's when I do most of the writing is like between 10 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning. If I don't. If I try and write during the day, there's these other people around, and it's honey, you need to eat something this, and Dad, I love you that, and I can't be expected to work under those conditions.
Nobody should have to work under those conditions.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not fair.
Now, do you also have a cat and dog? I know Mister's in the book with this huge cat. I'm guessing if it's able to hit Harry and knock him, kind of knock him around a little bit. Huge cat. Do you have a huge cat at your house?
I do not have a huge cat because cat dander tries to murder my wife.
So
no
me.
cats at home. Although I've had friends with cats, and Mister is based on the cat of a guy I knew in college. But I do have a dog, which Harry winds up getting a dog in book 6. Actually, the one the puppy he starts off with.
That's the one I'm on now. So it's a pretty cute puppy.
Yeah. Everybody's always like, "Oh, you must have this huge, enormous dog," and I'm like, "Well, he thinks he's huge and enormous. I guess that counts." But yeah, I have a 22-pound Bichon Frise at home. Now he thinks, and okay, to his credit, 22 pounds is hugely awesome for a Bichon Frise.
Mm-hmm.
He is an Arnold Schwarzenegger of Bichon Frises, and he's completely unaware of how ridiculous he is. So he takes himself very seriously.
Yeah, see, most of the cats I've ran into, I had a friend, my best friend, when I used to live in North Carolina, I had this cat. This cat was the most evil thing in the world. If you draped your arm anywhere, I was going to say over the couch, anywhere you drape your arm, this cat would just walk up to you and decide that you're the scratching post. I had scratches down my arm where this cat would it would run away, and of course his kids would start crying, and this, and it would just show back up, expecting food, a couple of days later, and
right.
they're, you can't run away. This cat didn't listen to them. It did whatever it wanted to do. It hated. I think it personally hated everybody.
Right.
So, it was just evil cat, and then it would just run away again. It would scratch whoever it wanted to. Even if you cut its nails, it would figure out a way to hurt you.
Cats are evil.
Cats are evil.
That's all they sit there and they look like they're lazy. They're like, oh, cats are always lazy. No, they're plotting on you. They're waiting for you to do something.
You should have like a cat demon attack Harry. That would work.
I did that in a short story.
You did?
Yeah, like a pack of cats called Malks.
Well, of course it would have to be a pack.
Yeah, there's dozens of them. They'll run you down and kill you. But
now, what's the weirdest enemy that you've put into a book? I've not read all of them yet. I would say the monkeys slinging, demon monkeys slinging poo was pretty high up there.
Throwing the napalm poo.
Yeah, that was just...
That's up there on the bizarre scale.
Yeah, is there anything more bizarre? Or do you have any ideas of anything more bizarre occurring?
Yeah, we haven't actually gotten to the really weird stuff yet. We'll get into that the second half of the series as we go.
Now, how many books of these are you planning on having?
I'm gonna do like 20 or 21 of the case books, like the ones I've done so far.
Wow.
And that number will vary based upon whether my kid goes to graduate school or not. And I could say
they'll just keep coming out.
I'd be lying. I don't have a muse. I have a mortgage. But. And then after I've done the case books, then I'm going to write the capstone trilogy and have a big apocalyptic trilogy, because who doesn't love apocalyptic trilogies?
I know, right?
They're the best. You've got to kill the entire world.
So here's the question I got now. How is this book going so far? The last book, didn't it debut at number 2 on New York Times bestseller?
It debuted at number 2. It lost to somebody who won a Pulitzer Prize or something. I don't know.
Whatever.
Social value, whatever.
It's politics.
But this year the sales are. I mean, I haven't heard anything yet.
It just came out
My
today.
editor
so.
seemed pumped up about the pre-sales, although I had no idea what they meant by numbers. I honestly I don't pay as much attention to that side of the business as I probably should. I just want to get on to the next book.
Have you started working on the next book yet?
I can't. I'm still in the middle of doing my second series, the final book in the second series I'm running.
That's right. We didn't need to ask you about those. We've been focusing on Harry Dresden. I don't know much about this series. Can you kind of explain sort of what your other series is?
The other series is set in a world where everything that you do instead of having technology, everything that you do gets done through a process called fury crafting, which is interacting with these elemental spirits that live in the world called furies. So if you have an earth fury and you're an earth crafter, then you can lift big heavy loads and you can tend fields, and if you're a metal crafter, you might be an exceptional smith or swordsman, and if you're an air crafter with enough power, you can fly, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And my hero in that series is the one person in that entire society who can't do anything with fury crafting.
You hate your characters.
And it's not that I hate him. It's just that I wanted him to be very different from Dresden.
Sure, all right.
And this is a character who has had to get by his entire life on being smart and being intelligent and resourceful. And so, as he gets more involved in what's going on in the world around him, he becomes more and more important because of those traits. Because he is the guy who does not think in immediate terms of, we'll just hit it with a rock. He's the guy who has to be smart and thoughtful because it's the only way he's gotten through his life.
Okay, that's actually a very interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that works. Now, do you try to beat him up, with different? Anything that could try to kill him at all, or is this a much different type of series than?
It's different in a lot of ways, but then again, his name is Tavi, and Tavi is just a lot smarter than Harry has ever been. Harry's a good guy, and he's smart enough, like in an academic sense, but he's had very little in the way of like social smarts, especially. And that's gotten him into trouble more than once. And whereas Tavi is much more of he's very savvy in a lot of ways. Dresden's getting smarter, but I didn't have as many books to let Tavi get bright as I do with Harry. So Tavi had to get smart by like book 2 or so.
Now, see, the problem with Harry is usually he'll say something like, well, I'm part of the Magi, the wise ones, then he'll do something just monumentally stupid,
Yeah, he'll deliver that kind of dialogue like that, although, he'll slip into, thou hasts and archaic forms of speech at dramatically appropriate moments, and only his sense of drama is not always, terribly refined.
Yeah. Now, is your other series going to last as long? You said you were finishing up.
Yeah, I'm finishing book 6 on this series, and then I'll go on to another one. I don't know if I'm going to do another fantasy yet, or if I'm going to do my actual science fiction series, where I want to do some science fiction too.
Now, is that a series? You haven't had that one coming out yet at all, correct?
No, that's for the future. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to finish this one first, and get out from. I think I'm about 4 months behind my writing schedule, so I'm going to get this stuff finished and get caught up, and then I'm going to start taking on new work because apparently that works better. Rather than just keep taking on every job you can find, apparently if you actually get the ones you have done well, it makes your editor happier.
Yeah, you don't want an angry editor.
It's true.
They don't like that. Well, it looks like we're running out of time, so thank you for coming on and everything. It's been a lot of fun. Good luck signing the books. Do you have a question, Jordan?
I just wanted to point out we do have links to your personal sites, and we're going to add up the one to your author tips as well. We're going to link that to our website.
Great. Thank you very much.
And
now, are you also doing real quick your podcast? I know there's a podcast on your site. Are you still updating that, or it's probably been a while?
Yeah, well, that's something that gets done about once a quarter, I think.
Okay.
My friend Fred is the one who runs that, and he did an interview with me in my living room last weekend. So
okay, well, I'll put a link up to that.
Yeah, we'll make sure we have it all linked up so people can find you.
Yes, that way they can go on there.
Hey, Jim, thanks a lot for joining us.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, have a good one.
All right.
I'm gonna have to read that series.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
Because I felt like I wasn't very contributive through the whole thing, just because I haven't read it, and you're like shooting out all the characters. And
I'm
stuff like
nerding out. You know, it's not every day you get to read. You know, some people probably think, oh, well, you know, he's lying about this. Really, I honestly,
Nick is really a nerd. Everybody,
I am a nerd. I have a card somewhere if I could find my wallet. And you know, I did start reading this. I was actually behind my group reading it because you know you pick up a book sometimes, and I think Lola was talking about this earlier. Sometimes it's hard to get started on a book. So I first start reading, and I'll put it away, read something else. I actually picked up the other author I mentioned, George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, these thick, almost 1,500-page books. Start reading through those. And then I get to the end, and I'm one of those people, when are you going to come out with the other book? I mean, takes him years to write books. I mean, and then he gets complaining about people saying hurry, and they're like, you've been 5 years. You said you were going to publish it 2 years ago, and it's not. But I won't get into that.
I get like that with movies.
Yeah, it's like, where's the movie?
So I'm just too lazy to read.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. If I read, it's through an audiobook, which
they do
end of this month.
Yeah.
End of this month, all his books will be out on audio. If they're not already, the ones that are supposed to be, or
I think
haven't been yet,
Stormfront
are all doing it.
Yes, I think Stormfront is, so you should be able to pick that one up.
So that's what I'll be picking up.
Yeah, it's and I started reading Stormfront. Once you get into it, it's really riveting. It's very easy to get into. It's a lot of fun. It's very funny. I'm sorry. Is there a
No.
Okay, I thought you were looking at me like, come on, I gotta. No, but it is a lot of fun. Lola, I think you would love them. It's very easy to get into if you like all the paranormal elements that they throw into it. I love the idea of the denarians he talked about. Linked into the 30 pieces of silver.
Yeah, that's clever.
The Knights of the Cross.
His mind must be a scary place.
Yeah. I just like the fact he also beats up his. Yeah.
Well, see, what got me, he said that he does all of his writing from 10 to 6, and Nick and I have always said nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah. All the bad stuff starts coming out. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting. Even the idea of the vampires being in the 3 courts and the way that works, especially the sexy, because the white court, which were the Anne Rice ones, they feed when they get the hunger, they feed by
They drink people's blood.
Well, no, they're the boom chicka wah wah kind of, they feed by, that's the way they like on the life energy of people. So that's the red court, and the black court. They're the blood eaters.
Okay.
So,
nice.
I'm sorry, Lola.
Who do we got next week, Nick?
I have no idea. I'm sorry, Joe Montaldo with UFO Undercover. He'll be coming on talking about all the stuff that's happening in the UFO world. So it's going to be a lot of fun. After that, we have actually it's on the site there. I want to make sure I do not miss. The 21st, I'm still talking to a couple of different people. I did talk to Frank Ficino last night, which someone mentioned earlier, the UFO crash in Ogleby. He called. He's finalizing the details of coming on, release some information finally on our show. So I'm kind of leaving the 21st open a little bit, maybe him. And then we have the Weird USA people.
The guys who wrote Weird New Jersey,
Weird New Jersey, Weird US.
April 28th. That'll be a fun show. They got a lot of neat stories if you haven't checked that out.
Yeah, the books. Who bought the book for you for? It was a Christmas gift, right?
Sylvia.
Excellent
brother's wife.
Yeah, Jordan brings it over, and I stole it from him for about a couple months. And the thing is, it was an excellent read. Not something you have to, you could pick it up, read a couple of stories from it, put it back down, go about your business. A lot of great stories in the book, though, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of stories. I was on their website looking through. Why are you laughing at me? They have a store where you could buy.
I wish
books.
I had all this time.
But he doesn't have time. He never has time, but he comes up with the randomest stuff sometimes.
I read very fast, and I absorb information.
So I was looking up where potato chips are from.
I have never looked that up.
Your grandma and your aunt want to know when you're going to turn into a werewolf, too, by the way.
We never really got an answer from this.
Hopefully not soon.
Well,
when is the full moon? I'm going to have to get chained up somewhere. You could lock me in the vault.
Okay.
See how that works out. Maybe I'll be able to get into some of those little safes for us.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the book, the Loop Guru, which we've talked about on the show, the vault wouldn't hold you. Jordan would rip the door off, come out all halt, kind of like.
That's all we got for this
done,
week.
You guys.
That's all we
sorry.
got. If you haven't paid for your pen trip yet, get a hold of me. whispers1600gmail.com. We'll figure out a way to get this paid off. I want everybody who wants to go to be able to go. So keep in contact.
Do you think we're going to have any open spots?
Maybe.
There may be. So.
Depends on if we get all the payments in.
If we
not,
do
I'm giving them away.
If you're curious, what we're going to say is we'll put up a link. If we have open spots, I'll put a number on there, and it'll be on the website. So keep an eye on the website. That way you can get in there as quick as possible.
All right.
So.
Until next week, everybody, don't be afraid. Only believe.